Oh yeah, that does work.
You didn't know that was what you hit.
I always hit
and then
record.
play.
I always just hit record twice. Tomato.
Okay, first of all, you have to introduce yourselves, however you want.
You go first.
I'm Joshly.
My name is Kwanisha. Why do I always say it like that? I'll say I'll say Kwanisha. My name is Kwanisha. I can't even say my name. Kwanisha. My name is Kwanisha.
I'm Laura. I go to LaGuardia High School. Should I put more introduction? Are we doing it right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure. And I'm an art major, so I plan on pursuing the arts.
So I'm Karina. I go to Bard High School Early College, and I'll be attending Columbia in the fall.
Well, my name is Fatu, short for Fatumata.
My name is Laura.
My name is Gabriel Molina.
My name is Vanessa.
Well, my name is Kimberly Lantigua.
My name is Sherwin Dowell. I go to the High School of Environmental Studies on 56th Street.
I'm Karen Alonso, and I'll be reading a passage from The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, written by himself. Very soon after I went to live with Mr. and Mrs. Auld, she very kindly commenced to teach me the ABC. After I had learned this, she assisted me in learning to spell words of 3 or 4 letters. Just at this point of my progress, Mr. Auld found out what was going on, and at once forbade Mrs. Auld to instruct me further, telling her, among other things, that it was unlawful, as well as unsafe, to teach a slave to read. To use his own words further, he said, "If you give a nigger an inch, he will take an ell. A nigger should know nothing but to obey his master, to do as he is told. Learning would spoil the best nigger in the world. Now," said he, "if you teach that nigger, speaking of myself, how to read, there would be no keeping him. It would forever unfit him to be a slave." These words sank deep into my heart, stirred up sentiments within that lay slumbering, and called into existence an entirely new train of thought. It was a new and special revelation, explaining dark and mysterious things, with which my youthful understanding had struggled, but struggled in vain. I now understood what had been to me a most perplexing difficulty. From that moment, I understood the pathway from slavery to freedom. It was just what I wanted, and I got it at a time when I least expected it. The line, "From that moment, I understood the pathway from slavery to freedom," really spoke to me, because in anything you need to be educated, and not only through the standard education that we're provided with today, but just it's important to not be ignorant about what's going on with mass incarceration and the criminal justice system. It's essential that we seek out answers. We don't just live and accept what's happening just because we're not in that situation ourselves.
So before the whole TEGO, Freedom and Citizenship classes in the summer, when you ask me what is freedom, I'm just like, oh, it's to be free. It's obvious. But after further investigation of the word, it turned out to be something so different. What is actually freedom? If you ask me now, it's going to be what I just wrote. It's just a word, because freedom has changed throughout the years. And what is freedom to me may not be freedom to another person. For example, and a person that's being oppressed in another country, they're going to think freedom is what's going to take them out of that situation. And to me, it won't be the same, because I'm not oppressed. Well, in the same sense that they are.
Okay, so the United States and America, the whole world, we're not free. We think we're free, but we're not free.
So, yes, we are free in a society, but we kind of aren't at the same way. It's kind of weird. But to be a free citizen, freedom and citizenship, it kind of goes hand in hand, because it's like when you're a citizen, you have to be able to abide by the rules to actually be free.
So you wrote this op-ed, or you delivered a speech in class one day called "America is an Oligarchy." Do you want to talk about that a little?
Oh, America's an oligarchy. Well, America is an oligarchy because we have our central government, boom. And since we don't have a direct democracy, we have a representative, some people can say that America's an oligarchy, because it's like we're electing these people, and then after that, it's all them, practically. They're just coming to us with polls and surveys on how they could better their job, but it's mostly them. It's mostly these specific few making all the decisions. So In an oligarchy, it's a select few. In America, it's a select few. So I'm not saying America is an oligarchy, but it's kind of like a democratic oligarchy, which is kind of really weird because, as I said before, like, we do elect these people, but then after that, everything's on their shoulders and they get to choose what happens in our country.
That one time, I think it was like during the last couple of classes where we were talking about the Gilded Age and how you were like, yeah. I think we were talking about income inequality. Well, we were talking a little bit about capitalism and how it's just kind of like survival of the fittest. We had that kind of situation going on in the 1880s where factory owners would just do whatever they want. They would pay them at like a penny a day, and people were living in these, like, what were they called, tenements? Mm-hmm. And just in nasty conditions. The shirt waist factory, 150 women were killed because of corporate greed, basically. And that's when the light bulb went off. Like, you know, this happened before. Like, you know, we need to stop letting history repeat itself. People don't just take power very quickly. Especially nowadays, I feel like people are taking power away from the people slowly but surely. You have to notice the little things before it becomes this whole big situation. So once you see the little things, you know, like, you have to speak up before it becomes a bigger problem.
Another line from a text that struck me was from the new Jim Crow, and it said that 1 in every 3 African American men have a history with the criminal justice system. And so for me, that's something that I feel very passionate about. I would like to do something about it to fix the race issue, if that's the right way to put it. As a minority, I feel like it's something I should do.
I think just the whole program in general, it's been awesome. I read something and I'm bothered. I want to know why what happened. It's not just, okay, like, someone got shot. It's just like, why? I'm curious, and that's something I wouldn't have had without this program, honestly.
I just have a question. So this was like a humanities course, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that for a fact that when I go into college that I'm going to take one of these courses because I feel like it helps me express myself and also works with your mind, and like it gets you thinking of ways to give back and to like just get involved in things that you wouldn't think that you would get involved in.
After the program ended, that the whole issue with Eric Garner happened. It was like I saw myself, like, I was so angry at the fact, everything that was going on, and I ended up going to one of the protests. And I feel like hadn't it been because of the program, I wouldn't have done that, because I wouldn't have had that understanding of, like, you know, I'm a minority, and not only, like, it didn't only happen to one person, it's happening to all of us as a whole, so, yeah.
So I got involved in the protests in the fall, and I thought it was great to see a lot of young people there that see that there are injustices in the criminal justice system, and are willing to give up their time after school or even on the weekends and when it's cold outside, just to show people that this is something that really matters and that people should be paying attention to. And I don't know, a lot of people told me that they were afraid of getting arrested, or they lack the commitment and wouldn't be able to go. But I think there's a certain kind of community that was built from the protests, and that's not, when you go, it's not only Black people there, it's people of all colors, all genders, everyone's there for a common cause, and we're all allies.
And what would you define as that common cause?
We're just against police brutality, the prison industrial complex, and racism in general. I think that's like the umbrella term, because all of these issues are like deeply rooted in racism. Yeah.
Your form of activism is slightly different than mine. I mostly do work through my art. I've done a lot of pieces on gun control. Like after the Uniontown shooting, I made a piece about the NRA, depicting children huddled, and it was the head of the NRA, LaPierre, like hovering over them.
Are you gonna keep doing your art while you're in college?
Oh yeah, I plan on majoring in art, but I also would like to double major, perhaps in either neuroscience or women, gender, and sexuality studies. Long game. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm interested in studying neuroscience, but it's mostly to figure out why certain people are the way they are and what creates with certain jobs. For example, if you're a cop, I want to see why is it that get into these systems and see what is it that makes them act the way they act.
Just being in Teagle and being aware of all of these issues that are going on inspired me to pursue, well, in my school we have something that's similar to senior thesis. We call it an inquiry project. And I'll be doing the biological basis of racism. So I'm just going to look at the science behind all of, or just the entire system that's rooted in racism, and how much can be explained by science. So I tried to, so I'm gonna look at neuroscience, I'm gonna look at evolution, I'm gonna look at genetics, and behavioral studies, and see if anything in racism can be explained by science. And that was partly due to Teagle, so.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Is that something you want to keep looking at while you're in college, or do you have other plans?
Yeah.
Do you know what you're thinking of studying?
Yeah, I'm going to study biology in college, but yeah, it's definitely something I want to continue studying.
My plan, so I'm going to UPenn and they have this Civic Scholars program where we, do a lot of outreach to the community. We kind of do a lot of the things that Teagle did, do these seminars about what it means to be a citizen.
This program has actually made me very interested in freedom and citizenship, and bringing it around the world, and how different countries actually present freedom and citizenship. And it's crazy because I'm actually going to Spain in June 30th, and I'm actually going to learn about their culture and their language, and I'm just going to be there, and I'm just going to in the back of my head it's always going to be all right, how is their government is, and how people are, and how they're, so yeah.
Do you think you might want to study government or political science at college?
I am. I'm a political science major at Howard University.
You're a coder and you work on computers and things like that. Can you tell us about your blog?
So my blog, I tell people about events that I go to, like hackathons, which is 12-hour or even 24-hour event, and high school students come together and they think of something to code that can help not only themselves but everyone about a daily issue. So for example, if someone has trouble with studying, they can make an app or a website where someone can go on the site and get help with studying. So things like that I like to tell people about, and also other events since STEM is a field that not too many women are in, I feel it's good to go to events where women speak about that issue and how to tell everyone else that this is an issue and how to help solve the problem. Everyone should learn how to code, so I feel women should be more involved, so tell them my experience. So yeah, there's so many things you can do with computer science, so I'm just not sure if I want to do website, if I want to do front end, back end, because there's different areas of coding that you can do. So hopefully I'll figure that out once I go to college.
Do you have anything else you want to share? Any memories from the program or anything that stands out for you?
It was just, I was surprised at where we started and how we finished. So I remember, it doesn't really have to do with the reading and so, but what the program has done. So it's I remember in the beginning the reading was super hard and difficult, and through time I found it to be much more I enjoyed it. In the beginning it was oh, I have to do this reading, and then it turned out to be oh my god, this is so fascinating when you look into it. And it's the way my writing has changed because of the readings is I started off with these small little basic paragraphs, and then it's it turned into me wanting to do 2 pages on it, and I couldn't because it's 1 page basically. So it's it has done a lot.
Any final
Yeah, like
thoughts?
well, in the beginning, the freedom is. I'm like, what is this? Freedom and citizenship. I'm like, this is about to be something boring, and I'm about to like get. But then it was cool. It was cool. I would really recommend it for every. Like, I think everybody needs one of these like classes or like experiences because
I feel
it was mine. Like it was life changing, basically.
I feel like having the whole seminar style class and Professor Montes is amazing.
Well, my professor was great too.
Yes, Professor Mann.
Yes, Professor Mann. She was great and she was so nice. And then even if we thought we said something stupid, she would be like, "No, it's fine. Keep talking." And I would feel so good about myself. I was like, "Okay."
No, I feel like all our thoughts were heard in the class, and we as a group got to understand one another, and we had different point of views. We saw very different point of views, which was interesting because we saw how different people viewed the readings and viewed life in general.
And how do you intend to carry your freedom and citizenship knowledge, education forward with you?
I mean, now when I hear people talking about laws and mass incarceration, it catches my ear, and I'm a little quick to kind of pitch in on it because it's like even Socrates' piece alone kind of opens the spectrum a little more, and you can see things a little differently, that it's not just a black and white issue, and there's a lot of room for discrepancies.
Any advice for future freedom and citizenshippers?
Yeah, advice: don't procrastinate with assignments. And I have nothing but fond memories of the whole summer, so yeah, I mean, just enjoy it while it lasts, because it does also pass by quick. So yeah.
If you guys don't have anything else to add, I'll end it there.
That's about it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, that's so cool.
No, we should have like a reunion, get together.
We have one. That's what this is for.
Yeah, but like with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, cause I miss everybody.
But everybody not.
No, but we have a dinner in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.